I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what was up.
All right.
So I formulated a plan.
Okay.
I was just going to ask her who she was speaking to.
Oh.
You know, play it off like I thought she was talking to me.
If you would have the kind of personality that you'd start like messing with customers because you were just interested in what they did or whatever, that's kind of weird. Working nights sucks. I'll just say it. I did it before quite a few times and it it was never great. The worst thing about working nights, I think, is trying to actually go to sleep during the day when things are happening around you and you need a dark and quiet environment and there's people in the kitchen slamming around dishes next to the bedrooms and people opening and closing doors and cars passing and with loud music and horning going on. It's not easy to sleep during the day, depending on where you're at. In some places, I guess it would, and you can kind of condition your environment, but it's hard. Let's not even talk about the stuff that can actually happen when you work in the night shift, because as the song says, the freaks come out at night. There's crazy people that do crazy things at night. When I worked at a grocery store a long time ago, we had people huffing freaking, what are those things? Doing whippets. They were huffing the gases that come out the whipped cream canisters to get a quick high. And we had people flashing us when I worked on the stock crew of that grocery store. It was just that kind of a place. I also worked a late shift at a drugstore that was open 24 hours. And nothing bad ever happened, but I remember some unsavory characters coming in a group, a pretty large group, a group of about 11 people at one time. And we're pretty sure it was like this coordinated shoplifting experiment or whatever. Like, they can't stop 11 of us. I don't think we called the cops, and 10 of them left the store and only one of them bought a bag of chips or something like that. So I'm pretty sure it was shoplifting. I don't remember the exact details, but I remember I was just glad that they didn't shoot us. It was just me, a pharmacist, and a cashier at this store, and not something I wanted to do again. But yeah, it's just working those night shifts. Nothing good thing ever come out of it. We're gonna actually react to a couple of horror stories from someone working in night shift, and it's by a new animator that we just recently got permission to, DarkAce Animations. Make sure to head on over to their channel, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and if you like reaction videos like this, make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. Let's get into the animation.
When I was in college, I worked the night shift one summer vacation.
All right.
I was 19 years old and an average-looking female. I wasn't enthused about having to work a job over the summer, but it was the only way I was going to be able to afford tuition.
You have pink hair. That's not
Working
average
night
looking.
shift was probably the weirdest experience of my life.
Okay.
It was at the McDonald's drive-thru.
All right.
I still remember my first night on the job. This lady came in and was talking to someone while she was waiting for us to take her order.
All right.
She sounded extremely upset, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs.
Wow.
It sounded like it was directed at someone in the back seat. I immediately assumed that perhaps she was abusing her children. I'm a psychology major, so I naturally pick up on stuff like that. She ordered 3 Big Macs and 3 large Cokes, and my intuition has been wrong. When she pulled up to pay for her meal, she was completely alone. I was honestly a little startled.
Maybe she was
Why
on
would
the
this
phone?
lady be here, wanting this much food and screaming in her car if she was alone?
Right. Well,
I couldn't wrap my head around the situation. She was otherwise polite. She was nice as she spoke to me and paid for her food and left. She even told me to have a good night.
Huh.
She had been the only customer we had in probably a 45-minute window. And after she left, I saw some of my coworkers laughing at me. I asked him what was so funny, and he told me it was my first encounter with Schizo Susan.
Oh.
They told me that she regularly did stuff like this and always showed up at all hours of the night to order seemingly too much food.
Ah.
She was always yelling at people in her car, but there was never anyone actually in her car.
Okay, that
They
explains a
didn't
lot.
actually know her name, so they just started calling her Schizo Susan.
Right.
They told me that there were occasional nights when she was the only customer to come through the drive-thru at all.
All right.
And I found that extremely unnerving. I immediately started wondering what was wrong with this woman. About a week went by. She came in every night just like they said. And in between speaking to me to order her food and picking up her food, she was always yelling at someone.
So, it makes you think, first of all, they probably have cameras that you could have used to see that. Maybe not her level, but at the office would have probably had that. You would think if you really, really thought something was troubling in order to get you unnerved like that, you would just let your boss know in the morning. Like, boss, this lady, every morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning, this lady's been coming through. And I know the other staff calls her Schizo Susan or whatever. I'm just making sure that everybody in the building is safe. Can we review the tapes just to see what was going on at about 3 o'clock at the drive-thru when this lady came through? It was the only customer. So I'm just curious. She seems to be yelling at somebody every time she rolls up. I just want to make sure she's not making a scene or doing something dangerous, because we're running a business here. I would present it to them like that. Just to actually find out. Yeah, there's some validity to those statements, but that would have been my convincing argument to the managers, to try to play on his. Yeah, we do have a business to run. It's important that we see what's going on. At least you look at it and tell me what's happening, because at this point, I'm curious, just like you.
I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know what was up.
All right.
So I formulated a plan.
Okay.
I was just going to ask her who she was speaking to.
Oh.
Play it off like I thought she was talking to me. It was the best I could come up with without seeming abrasive.
Right.
I remember it being a Friday night when I decided I was going to go do it. I had chickened out a couple of times, but I figured that since I don't work the weekends, may as well try something new to end my last shift for the week.
All right.
Well, the night that I did it, I listened into her screaming for a few more seconds than I normally did.
Uh-huh.
You see, I can listen to what people are saying through the McDonald's speaker without them necessarily knowing that I'm listening.
Right.
If I don't say anything, they would never know. I normally never did this because it's kind of frowned upon. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of rule against it, but I listened for maybe 20 or 30 seconds. I listened for long enough to know that she was yelling at someone named Darian. When she was in the middle of saying something, I interrupted her and said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, were you speaking to me?" She just replied, "No." Okay, I thought to myself. I knew that I had to try something else. I asked her if Darian would be ordering with her. Then she was silent. It wasn't an entire minute, but she just didn't say anything.
So, I ain't gonna lie, she did it on the slick. That was pretty clever of her. But outside of your curiosity, I know it's just a McDonald's job, but to somebody like her age, and at that point in her life, that is her job. That's her only job. She knew that there was rules against it. Was the curiosity so overwhelming that you actually are going to take chances to make a customer angry and complain on you? Because let's just face it. If you start invading someone's privacy or asking prying questions in today's society as an employee to a customer, and that customer feels like they're being, I won't say harassed, but bothered, they complain, right? And they'll complain. And if you get a customer complaint, the manager's going to ask you about it. And if you're even slightly truthful about just curiosity or something, that seems like such a personal issue to have. I don't know. As a manager, I figured that if you would have the kind of personality that you'd start like messing with customers because you were just interested in what they did or whatever, that's kind of weird. And I would probably discipline you, if not fire you, if it got bad enough. Like, how many more customers are you gonna do this to? Just because a customer's acting peculiar doesn't mean you could go poking around in their lives and just like trying to uncover these big mysteries, even though it is really weird,
After the second time of asking her if she was still there, she let out a banshee of a scream.
Well, there you go.
It was the loudest thing that I've ever heard in my life. It really hurt my ears, blasting through the intercom. The McDonald's microphone system is already pretty loud, but when someone screams into it, trust me when I say that it's the most unbearable thing you've ever experienced.
Yeah.
I was also surprised at how long she screamed. She had one deep, guttural scream going for like 30 entire seconds. In the moment, though, I was scared for my life. I also got really worried that I was going to lose my job.
Yeah.
I felt really guilty for asking, like it was my fault for setting her off.
I mean...
In retrospect, I don't think I really did anything horrible to her.
No.
Literally just ask her if the person whose name she was screaming just a minute ago was also going to be ordering food.
Your intentions,
He didn't
though.
actually say anything when she screamed. It was just kind of a violent and guttural screaming. I was really taken aback there for a minute. How the heck do you even respond to that? I asked her if she wanted to continue placing her order, and that's when she just drove away.
Wow.
She floored it and drove way faster than she should have.
She was angry.
And as she drove by, I saw her face looking at me through the window.
Oh.
It must have only been a split second that I could see her, but I got that one really good look at her.
She was
She
glaring.
looked extremely distressed. And as if things couldn't get any weirder, the microphone system stopped working correctly the rest of the night.
God.
I think she screamed loud enough to break something in it.
She blew it out.
That was hands down the weirdest thing to ever happen to me throughout any job I've ever worked. And this weird lady just disappeared after that.
She never came
She
back.
stopped coming to McDonald's altogether. I asked some of the other coworkers how long she has been stopping by for her nightly visits, and all they said was that it was for as long as they can remember, which probably meant at least a year for some of them.
So she lost a lifetime
I
customer.
felt somewhat guilty for angering this lady so badly, but
You should.
I think it is safe to say she probably needs some serious mental help.
Yeah, but not from you. Lady, you just cost McDonald's a customer that ordered 3 Big Macs and 3 large Cokes nightly for the past year or more. All because you were curious. That's just, that's kind of ignorant, man. I know as a drive-thru employee, I wouldn't really hold a job like that dear, especially at her age. If she's in college and she needed it, that's fine. I needed money too when I was there, but I don't know if I would have taken it to the point to where I would have invaded a customer's life that much. I had a different kind of respect for people that I'm sure some of you that work customer service feel the same. I don't know, man. DarkAce Animations, though, this was a very, very good story. Make sure to go over to their channel and subscribe, guys. It's going to be right there. And check out these videos that I reacted to if you like this type of content. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off, and we'll see you next time.